Hey guys, Paul here. So, a whole bunch of things transpired this month, which is going to lead to a ridiculous, obscene book haul. And I apologize. So, if you're not into book hauls, if you hate the commercialism and stuff, please just turn it off now because you're going to hate this. But I got some very, very, very cool things too. It isn't just random stuff. I picked up some stuff that I really, really wanted that I'm looking forward to doing for the channel. It's going to be very cool. There's some cool things I found, and there's a whole bunch of things transpired this month to cause me to end up overindulging. First off, I'm still coming off like the end of my birthday was the very, very, very end of September, so I still had some gift cards and stuff I was using. I took like the last I was off booktube for like 10 days. Got a little seasonal depression, whatever. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good in my life. My job's good. My family's good. The animals good. My buddy who went away for the heart transplant after 3 months finally came home. He's safe and recovering. My job's good. Everything's good. I don't need sympathy. I just had a little moment. We all have them. Everything's fine. I swear. I don't need any sympathy. I just needed a little break. But that being said, when I get that way, I tend to buy things. And combined having that extra money from my birthday with the fact that I came across 3 different sales on Amazon over the last month. Um, and I found a few things that were, pointed out to me that were kind of special that I really wanted. Um, then, I kind of overindulged this month. So if you're, like I said, if you're offended by book hauls, if you don't like book hauls, don't watch. This is going to cause me though to have to kind of tighten the belt a little bit on future end of the month book hauls, the more expensive ones, which aren't the paper trade, the Goodwill book hauls and the used bookstore book hauls. Um, so this month, the next month or so, these end of the month book hauls that I get from special stuff from Amazon and online stores, etc., are gonna probably be a little more sparse. But so if you do like book hauls, enjoy this one and know that I did not spend anywhere near as much as you might think, because every one of these books came as a deal from a gift card or 3 different sales: the buy two get the third free, buy one get one half off, and then a 50% sale. So don't feel bad for me. Along with that, I came a couple gifts. So that came in after the last book haul. So don't feel bad, and don't if you like book hauls, just enjoy, because there is some really, really cool things in here. There's some pretty ordinary things. There's some nonfiction. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but there is some cool things in here, and wait for them. If you're in this corner of booktube and you like stuff like old hard-boiled detectives or weird tales authors or that kind of thing, I found a couple of cool things. So hang on for those. Anyway, we're going to go over the table and take a look at those. And like I said, please, if you're one of these people who gets offended by book hauls, I feel you. I'm sorry. This is not going to be normal. I've done some pretty big book hauls in the past because of circumstances. Most of them were used books. But this one was just kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of things that came together. So anyway, yeah, you won't see this will be a little bit unique. And like I said, next month you're gonna probably get a very, very small one. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, so yeah, also I stepped away from booktube, I had to rearrange a lot of videos, and that's why I'm doing this one now. I have a bunch of stuff that got skipped over that are coming, including the fact that I owe my buddy Scott who has a booktube channel, Wild Digest. Go check him out. He's a Hollywood superstar, voice actor, and writer. Go check him out. He's trying to make it in the big time of booktube now. And he sent me a couple of the books he wrote and worked on, and I have to get a video out for these. So Scott, it's coming. I swear. I apologize. This was all on me. This was all my bad. And you're gonna, if you like Flash Gordon, if you're into old pulp and sci-fi and popcorn sci-fi, I don't care, if you're a gamer or not. Come back and check these out, because the art in these is fantastic, and you want to support a fellow booktuber, and check it out. Just come watch the video. But we're going to go over to the table and we're going to take a look at a whole bunch of books. So get a drink, get your popcorn, have a seat, and enjoy some free entertainment for you that, it wasn't so free for me. But you get the benefits to watch, right? Hopefully you see it that way. I feel bad, actually. I'm babbling because I feel a little guilty. But for those of you who do like the book haul, you're going to get in my comments and say, don't feel bad. We love book hauls. And I appreciate that. But anyway, let's just go do this. All right, I'm turning red. All right, see you in a second. All right, so I'm going to start with this. This was less than $3. I'm a huge fan of the story of the Bismarck and even the Tirpitz. And so I could not pass this up for less than $3. It's the story of the Bismarck. It has some great photos and stories in it. And even has this great pull-out of, the detailing all about the ship. I said less than $3. I could not pass that up. All right, so let's see. I did pick up the last two Clark Ashton Smith collections. This is volume 5, The Last Hieroglyph. It's volume 5. I have the other 3, so I was finishing off the collection. That'll be a theme here for a bunch of stuff. And this is The Door to Saturn, which is book 2. So now I should have all 5. Also working on a collection, I picked up the this Raymond Chandler collection. This has The Lady in the Lake, The Little Sister, The Long Goodbye, and Playback. I did pick up the collection with his complete short story collection from the same run. And so I need one more. It has 3 more of his books in it in a collection, and then I'll have this set. I'm collecting Tana Lee's short story collections. This is A Wolf at the Door, which is yet another in a series of short story collections by her. Here's a list if you want to see what's in it. Some good werewolf stuff. So, picked up some more highbrow reading. Guy Endore's The Werewolf of Paris. I've been wanting to read this for a long time and saw it on sale, so I finally got it. I picked up a copy of Middlemarch by George Eliot. I've never read her. I've always wanted to at least check it out. I've heard so many good things. I don't know if it'll be up my alley or not. I don't know if she writes anything that I'll be interested in, but I've heard this is the best. And it's a favorite of many people, so I thought I'd grab it. And best of all, it only cost me $3. It was I don't know if they're clearancing it or what. And Wordsworth's classics, or you can get pretty cheap anyway. There's 3 and change, so I wasn't gonna, miss the opportunity to finally get it. We the Drowned by Karsten Jensen. Again, I've heard this is more, literary fiction. I've heard it's very, very good. It's actually about the history of the life of a seaport in Denmark, the town of Marstrel. More along the lines of like a historical fiction kind of thing. And I finally picked up a copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Penguin edition. I realized I've never actually read Gilgamesh. I know the story, so I felt like I had read it, but I never actually did. And I've read Beowulf several times. I love Beowulf. And I thought, you know what? You should probably actually know this and read this. So I picked up a copy. I did pick up a few military sci-fi. I got Scott Siegler's The Crypt, book 1 of Shakedown. I've read Siegler before. I even read his YA series, which I thought was really good. I gave it to a friend of mine's son. But this is actually about a spaceship that apparently kills its crew. I don't know. It sounded really good when I read it, and I like Scott Siegler. I've read him before, so. Doomsday Recon by Ryan Williamson and Jason Anspach. Military sci-fi against Aztecs. And it was on sale, and I thought it sounded fun. And I really got, this description sounded fantastic. So, look at this cool cover too, right? Who doesn't want to see modern military fight Aztec gods. And I picked up Trample of the Weak by Eric Testerman. This is a military sci-fi, but it's more contemporary as it takes place during World War II. It's a military unit, a bunch of degenerate Marines, not their words, not mine, go try to take an island, but there's that island has a bunch of Japanese scientists who are doing experiments, and they have monsters and such, and it just sounded really great and right up my alley. So anyway, thought I'd check it out. All right, so I did get a bunch of mainstream stuff. I'm sorry, I'm going to put this in now and get it out of the way before I get to some of the more cool stuff. I did break down and get Joe Hill's The King of Sorrow. I got it more than 50% off, so I thought, what the heck? It's, I do read King and Hill, and I heard this was fantastic. Even Criminale raved about this. So I thought, what the heck? Let's give it a shot. It sounded interesting. I picked up, again, less than 50%. Cost me less than 50%. Got more than 50% off, however you want to put it. Tim Lebbins' Songs of the Slain, a new Codan pastiche. I don't buy these at full price. If I see them half price or less, then I'll grab them because I have a passing interest, but otherwise I wouldn't. So yeah, I got it for less than half price. I have a bunch of books I'm finishing up the series on. Dan Jones. I love Dan Jones. This is Lionheart's historical fiction series. It's the third part, and so I had to pick it up to finish my series when it went on sale. These are everything you see here. Almost everything was on sale or secondhand or cheap. So yeah, so Lionheart's. This is book 3 in his Essex Dogs series. Again, this is book 3, The Teeth of Dawn by Marina Lostetter. This is the final book in the series. I needed to complete it, and while they had the sale on, I picked them up. Third book under The Helm of Midnight and the The Age of Dark Hours. Is that the name? I believe so. Anyway, so I picked up the other two. I have a hardcover. This didn't put the third one out in hardcover, but oh well, if I can get it cheap. Engines of War. Again, this is a third book finishing off a series. So I wanted to, while it was on sale, get the last book and finish it off. This is the third book in the Age of Uprising series. And I hate not having a complete series. There's the other two. Last book, the third book in the Aiden saga. I know these are fantasy. I probably won't talk about them much on the channel. It's more mainstream. Well, Justin Lee Anderson, The Damned King, is the third book in the Aiden trilogy. I read the first book when he was an independent author. I absolutely loved it. I thought the last page of that book was one of the best endings I'd ever read. It was just awesome twist at the end, and I wanted to finish them up. So now I have the entire set. Hopefully I can get to that before I'm too old to care. All right, guys, you're going to groan at me, but I picked up The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. It was, like I said, I got it for like $10 as a hardcover, so I was curious, and I might as well at that price. I was weak. I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't talk a lot of mainstream stuff on the channel, but occasionally I read it because, well, I'm curious. And The Malevolent 8, which is actually book 2. This is the follow-up to The Malevolent 7 by Sebastian de Castell. I absolutely loved the first book. The first book it's fantasy, but it didn't feel like fantasy. It read like an action movie with fantasy characters, and it was just so much fun. It was so over the top, ridiculous, and it was like watching Speed and Die Hard in a fantasy world, and I loved it. So yeah, I picked it up, and I don't feel guilty about that because it was a great book, the first one. So let's check out a few cool things here. I got a couple more of the Robert E. Howard Foundation collections. This is his science fantasy book, which would be, what is that? This is number 1 in the new Robert E. Howard Foundation collection. So I have number 1. So his science fantasy collection of books. And his Spicy Adventures. Robert E. Howard's Spicy Adventures. Yeah, this is what, number 10 in the series. So all I need is like the last two is poetry books and the ones that aren't published, and I'll have every collection of Robert E. Howard. So I picked up a reprint of Philip Francis Nowlin's Armageddon 2419 AD. This is actually the precursor to Buck Rogers. And I heard Michael K. Vaughan talking about this. I found this copy really cheap, and I thought it'd be really fun because I did grow up watching the Buck Rogers TV show, and thought I'd check it out. You like that? It's a good cover too. Kind of cool for a modern cover, right? From Allard Books. So yeah, that's the origins of Buck Rogers. You guys like Michael Moorcock? Well, he apparently put out a new book along with Mark Hodder, The Albino's Secret. The Meta-Temporal Detectives, Book 1. So it's kind of like Occult Detectives, which wasn't October Occult Detective Month. So I picked up a book at least, even if I didn't get to read one. So yeah, this is a new Michael Moorcock, and it's an occult detective. Embark on a thrilling alternative historical adventure perfect for the fans of Sherlock Holmes and Doctor Who. And I like both those things. So, are you guys fans of Hubie Cave? Because I picked up some cool stuff from Hubie Cave. I got his Mergerstrom and Others collection. It's a big puppy. This is a bunch of his short stories. And this is what's included in the collection. If you want to take a look. This is from Macabre Inc. And that's a great cover. Love crows. So yeah. So I got that from Hubie Cave. I picked up The House of the Restless Dead and Other Stories, Selected Weird Tales of Hubie Cave, Volume 1. So here's what's apparently in there. There might be some crossover. I don't know if there's more than one. I don't know where the other volumes are. But Dancing Tutura Press, number 27. So, yeah, Hubie Cave, House of the Restless Dead, and Other Stories. And I picked this up, and oh boy, was I happy to get this. I haven't even opened it yet. It's still sealed. This is Hubie Cave's Death Stalks a Night. Look at that cover. This is a very limited run, special edition of his stories from, what is that? Fettigam and Bremer. I haven't even opened it yet. I was going to do it here on the camera with you guys. And this was probably the most expensive thing I bought here by far. It was like $30, and that was a steal because this sells for a hell of a lot more. So I'm going to open this with you. Hang on, I'm going to get a blade. Okay, because I really wanted to check this out, and I didn't want to wait any longer, so I was very excited to get this. I don't want to cut too deep, so now I'm not cutting deep enough. All right. This cover is just amazing. And if you're a Hubie Cave fan, you might really get a kick out of this. Look at that. So let's take a look on the inside. Apparently there's some illustrations. Sorry, pages are new and sticky. They don't really tell me what's... There's a couple random illustrations in here. Yeah, but I was thrilled to find a copy of this. Not sure what all the stories are in here. This is edited by Carl Edward Wagner. Here we go. There's the table of contents. Again, there might be some crossover, but I really wanted this book, so yes, hopefully you find that as appealing as I do. I was very, very excited to get this. And I'm a fan of Robert Bloch, the writer of Psycho, and I've read Psycho, but I never owned a copy. Well, imagine my surprise when I found this on sale. This is the special edition of Psycho, and I love this book. I love the way this looks. Blood splatter. And it's got this see-through cover that's like has the bathroom walls from the shower scene. And inside you have Bates Motel key, slice, the drain scene, of course, and the dead fly. But yeah, so I've read it, but I've never actually owned a copy. I've always borrowed it from a library or something of the sort, and now I have my own copy, and I'm thrilled about that because this is a very cool edition. It'd be nice to display. I did pick up a couple more issues of my G8 and his Battle Aces. This is Stoffel of Beasts. I'm trying to collect the series. This is number 24 of 60. Sorry if you can't see that. And the Headless Stoffel, which is number 23 of 60. But I found a bunch of these other reprints on sale, and when they go on sale, I always pick them up, and I can find them for $4, $6, $8. So I always pick them up when they're on sale. This is The Phantom Detective. This is from August 1935. The Pharaoh's Mark book-length feature. Robert Wallace, John Saxon, CMK Scanlon. And Adventure House Press, Adventure House Presents. They reprint all these old pulp books pretty much in full, and when they go on sale, I can't resist them. They're fantastic. They're so much fun, and like I said, they go on sale regularly. I picked some of them up as low as $2, and most of them are between $4 and $6, and you can't really it's amazing. I'm helpless against these when they go on sale because they're just so much fun. And all these I did pick up when they're on sale. Saucy Movie Tales. Sorry if I showed untoward stuff. This is from March of 1937. Same idea, they're reprints. And the Saucy Movie Tales are a little spicier. But, you know, if you're into that kind of thing, they're great because they're reprints of the original magazine from that year, that month. And, man, it's awesome. Got another one of those. This would be July of what year? Doesn't say, does it? I don't know. It's an old one. But this is another Saucy Movie Tales. It's July of 1936. And these, like I said, these are reprints. Right down to the art. Exact reprints of those magazines. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate. I mean, this is stuff you'd never be able to find and experience if they hadn't took the time to so lovingly reprint them. Just fantastic. And Lone Eagle. This is December 1936. And I love the Arrow pulps. If you've been around, you know. Again, just awesome. So cool. and there's hundreds of these. And I said I obviously couldn't afford them, so I pick them up when they're on sale because, well, that's the best way to do it. Thrilling Detective. This is April 1933. Featuring Murder in the Morgue by George Allen Moffat. Skullface by Pearlie Sheehan. Look at that. That's just so cool. Blood on the Moon. I love these things. So, yeah, whenever they're on sale, I pick them up before they're gone because they have been in print for a while. So, there's see the list. Oh, and actually, here's another G8 I must have picked up at a separate time. This is Skeletons of the Black Cross. This is number 29. This is, in case I haven't told you before, G8 by Robert Hogan. It's a pulp hero along the line of Doc Savage, except he has pilots at his disposal, World War I planes. So, there's that. Also picked this up used, and I think it's very cool. This is Brass Knuckles by Frank Gruber. This is the entire collection of the Oliver Quaid Human Encyclopedia stories, which appeared in the, 10-cent detective or dime detective, whatever it was called. And it has, tells his story, has his little story told, life and times of being a pulp author. When he talks about how, what it was like writing at the time, writing pulps for the pulps, and then the entire collection of all the stories in this character's life. And I found it used, and definitely was something I wanted. Definitely, that was very cool to find that and pick that up. A couple other things that are out of print now that I managed to find. This is It's Always Raining Corpses in Chinatown by Don Hutchinson. It's a collection of two of his collections of China, Asian-inspired pulps. Maybe a little insensitive, but they're out of print now, and they're hard to find. I did manage to, thankfully, find one affordably. So he actually combined two books into one here. I don't remember their names off the top of my head. But yeah, these are just reprints of from different authors, Asian-based stories. And he did a follow-up called It's Raining More Corpses in Chinatown, which is actually the third one he's put out now. These I had to pick up used, but they're in good shape, so I'm not complaining. Here's the list. It includes a Frank Gruber story and a Hubie Cave story, so I think that's cool. Where did that go? There it goes. So, yeah. So some very cool stuff. I have some more pulps and such if you're interested in hard-boiled detectives. When these go on sale, I pick them up as well, and this is the only one. I have a whole bunch of them waiting in my wish list, and this is the one that went on sale, so I picked it up. Hellcat Squadron, Cyclops of the Skies by Alexis Rossoff. And I just set off my Echo in the living room. Funny. Yeah, so this Ace of Aces books put out a bunch of these different Arrow books, and I've been collecting them. So I picked up Secret Agent X, the complete series, volume 1. This is a collection of the Secret Agent X stories by Paul Chadwick that were once published in the pulps back in the day. Contains 4 short stories. These are pretty thick for short stories. Must be something more in there. Yeah, there's 4 short stories. Those are some long short stories. It ran from 1934 to 1939. Apparently there's a bunch of them. Well, I got the first one. And along with Dime Detective, I love Black Mask, so I pick up these collections when I can. This is Border Brand by Raoul Whitfield. It's a collection of the Border Brand stories from Black Mask magazine. Contains the following 6 stories. So, and let's see. A little bit of the art from the original Pulps. Another Black Mask book is the Boomerang Dice, Johnny Highgear by Stuart Sterling. This is a collection of Johnny Highgear. Right, so take a look. Yeah. Starts with Boomerang Dice, continues. This is like the collection of this character from Black Mask, and they put it all together into one. Let's see. This is the Marked Maskman. I could talk, I swear. Masked Marksman, Volume 1. The Ed Race Stories by Emil C. Tepperman. So it's again a collection of old pulp stories put together into one nice little collection with a little bit of the original art. And a little more pulp, a little more hard-boiled detective for you. Wade Miller's Kitten with a Whip and Kiss Her Goodbye from Stark House Crime Classics, Stark House Press. Like I said, I have a bunch of these in my cart and I wait for them to go on sale, and then I pick them up, and I'm lucky enough to grab a few. I do collect Gil Brewer stuff, so that comes last. The rest of the 50s. Gil Brewer stories. Gil Brewer originally was born not far from me in Canandaigua, New York. It's right down the road from me. So there's that. There's his more unpublished stories of Gil Brewer. It's another Stark House book. Die Once, Die Twice. So, collection of his unpublished short stories. And here's the original one, the first book in the series, Death is a Private Eye, Unpublished Stories of Gil Brewer, from Stark House Press. Bunch of his unpublished short stories. Always cool to see unpublished stuff, finally, and see what it's like. Let's see. I'll cover up the breasts on this. You don't want to see that, right? She Got What She Wanted by Ori Hitt. Ori Hitt was a famous pulp sleaze writer. Sleaze being relative compared to today, right? But this is a Black Cat book. Same company that puts out Stark House. This is book 8 in the collection. I'm kind of collecting some of those. So this is number 8. I'm going to turn it upside down because I don't want to get yelled at. And then I picked up 2 hard case crime books. Errol Stanley Gardner's Top of the Heap, which is number 3 hour. I think that means it's a reprint in the hard case crime books, which is something else I'm collecting. And The Consumata by Mickey Spillane and Max Allan Collins. This is actually part 2 of another book I actually picked up from a used copy of that. I have it in my used books for middle of the month, paperback one, so I picked up the second one. It's the second part to that duology series he was starting, but Mickey Spillane died before he could finish. So Max Allan Collins finished up the second book for him. But I do have the first book I picked up, and I picked it up at a used bookstore, which is why I got the second one. So, and in case you're curious, what is that number? That is number 103 in the series, in the hard case crime books. Okay, so the rest of what I have is nonfiction. So if you're interested in sticking around for nonfiction, that's what I have left. Hold on, and I will be back with it. Okay, I have a review coming up of a couple books that take place, fiction books that took place in Cuba. I'll do a review on that coming up. You'll see it probably next week. But it made me so interested, I picked up this American History of Cuba by Ada Ferrer. The history of Cuba is absolutely fascinating, and I really wanted to read it. This is apparently a Pulitzer Prize-winning book as well. But holy cow, the history of Cuba is so interesting. I did not realize. I knew it was complicated, but reading doing a little bit of research into it, I found out how complicated that is. And oh boy, I was interested to read more. So I picked this up used. Francis Pryor. I don't know why I have used books mixed in with my new ones, but you get to see the used one too. Francis Pryor, Britain, BC. This is just a history of Britain, BCE, and so it'll be going into my future research of Britain when I do the entire history of Britain, which will take me years. I'm just collecting for it now. This is Petty versus Pearson. It's a story of Richard Petty and Alan Pearson. Is it Alan? I forgot now. No. It's been so long. David Pearson. Why do I say Alan Pearson? His son was Alan. Now, I don't watch NASCAR, but when I was a kid, I did, and this rivalry was amazing, and the story, I was kind of curious. It caught my attention. And when it went on sale, I picked it up. They've been sitting in my cart, and I wasn't going to pay full price for it. But, yeah, the story of these two and their battle back in, was it the 70s, early 70s? And it was absolutely fascinating, so I wanted to, check that out. So I've been told multiple times to pick up Chicken Hawk because I love helicopters and Vietnam stories. Love hearing about the helicopter combat. Not a fan of Vietnam as a war. I just love hearing about the amazing soldiers what they did with these helicopters. It just fascinates me. This is by Robert Mason. So I actually had this in audiobook, but I found a used copy online for just a few dollars, so I grabbed it. It's in good, nice shape. So now I have it in paper too. World War I, The Killing Season by Robert Crowley. This is the story of Ypres. Again, this was sitting in my cart, and when it went on sale, 50% off, thought I'd grab it, go into my World War I collection, and if you're interested in that kind of thing. So, speaking of World War I finally did pick up the Red Baron, Manfred van Richthofen's diaries, basically. It's a story told by him. And I was always curious, and I never actually read it. And again, I was able to pick it up fairly cheap, so I'm like, I'm just going to get it. Finally be able to own it. And the rest are just, the last few are just landmark books. Xenophon's Hellenica. I don't know if you're interested in this. And Landmark Herodotus, the histories. This probably isn't, it doesn't interest a lot of people, but it kind of the stories of like the Peloponnesian Wars and the Greek Wars and stuff from people who were there. And finally, the Landmark Thucydides. This is the Peloponnesian War. So I do like me some nonfiction. I don't talk about it a lot on the channel, but it doesn't mean I don't read it. I just don't find, there's very few people who are interested in it, so I bring it up on occasion, but yeah, so yeah, there we go, the Thucydides. All right, so I am sorry for this extended and ridiculously long book haul. I appreciate it if you cared and stuck around and not judging me by this. And thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please subscribe, please. I'd appreciate your time, and thank you for being here. Remember, the secret to Zen: read books, pet dogs, listen to metal, and I'm exhausted, and I will see you later.